What's up, guys? Today we are going over all the weapons in Apex Legends Season 12, and I'm just giving you my input on them and what I think. Remember, these are just my opinions, so use whatever you want. But make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you like the video. We'll get right into it.
Okay, so weapons in Season 12. This is just my opinion. I want to make that clear. I'm not trying to tell you what you should or shouldn't use, like it's all up to you. This is my opinions. These are my opinions on the weapons. This is what I prefer. This is what I think. And we're only a week into the season, so this might change, but this is just kind of where I'm sitting. We're going to start with the snipers. For me, as a general rule, the longbow is probably my favorite sniper, just because I feel like for what I do sniping-wise, most of it's at mid-range, which is what the longbow's best at, in my opinion. It's got a decent fire rate, decent damage, headshots are great, mag size is better than the Sentinel. I enjoy the longbow a ton. Like, don't mind my gameplay here, but like, you can drop 55s like that, and then you take the Sentinel, right? Which, granted, the Sentinel does more damage, but you're dropping 70, and then you got that time in between. If you're trying to snipe somebody at mid-range, for me personally, the longbow is a little better just because of the quicker fire rate and the bigger mag size. Charge rifle is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. If you hit your shots with it well, it's just, I mean, it's a beam machine. You grab this, you throw, let's say you throw a 4x8 on. You can go all the way out here, and it's still going to be hitting that. Like, you're going to be hitting it. It's insane. The hip fire is great. Like, it's a solid weapon. I personally don't use it most of the time unless I'm trying to be toxic, just because that's my preference. But it is a solid weapon if you enjoy sniping, and if you just want some easy damage, the charge rifle is great. Are you going to get knocks with it all the time? Probably not. But it's a great weapon. Flatline is still goated with sauce even after the slight nerf. Yes, agreed. Okay, so that's kind of my, if we're doing like tier rankings, I'd say the longbow is probably like maybe an A tier, probably a B tier. Charge rifle is probably A tier just for how much you can do with it, but I just don't really like it that much. The Sentinel, if you're good with it, and especially if you use it charged up, is probably A tier, maybe S, but I hesitate to say that. I'd probably say it's A tier. I just don't really like it personally. Toxic equals win. A lot of times, yeah. Okay, so moving into our light weapons. Oh, look, a bunch of Nessies. Let's start with the RE. RE, I do not like, personally. I can't stand it. I think... Oh, don't mind that. I have not played at all. Well, I guess I played a little bit last time. I'm just lying to you guys right off the bat. I don't like it. I don't like the recoil most of the time. I feel like it's just not a gun that I enjoy. Like, if I pick it up right off drop, I'm going to use it. But the second that I get a chance to switch it out, I'm going to switch it out. Now, with hammer points, obviously, let's get a little bit closer since, as you can like, it shreds when you get to flesh, right? And so if you're carrying it as a secondary, if it's just your finishing weapon, it's probably fine. But for me personally, I'm not going to do it. Like, the RE is very much a C tier weapon at best, even with hammer points, because I just don't enjoy it. And that's my opinion. Do what you will with it. The P20, I didn't really need to drop that. P20, I think, is a solid weapon. I think it's probably B tier, even without hammer points, because it does good damage. It does solid damage. It's got a pretty good hip fire. It fires fast. You get pretty good mag sizes. With hammer points on it, like, that's disgusting. RE's goated with the sauce. You don't know what you're smoking. Dude, I just don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. And I recognize where it can be good. I recognize that. I'm not saying... Let me be clear about this. I'm not saying that any of these weapons are bad for the most part. There are some weapons that I just really, truly think are bad. But I don't enjoy it. I don't prefer it. I would, honestly, especially with hammer points being back in, I'd take a P20 with hammer points over an RE any day. I think I'd probably take a P20 without hammer points over an RE. But that's just me. Like, that is my opinion. I think that you just get more versatility out of the P20. Now, the R3, P20 Kraber. Yeah, for real. P20 Solo's your favorite. But the R3 is just, it's old reliable. The R3 is that weapon that you can go to with just about any needs, and it's going to fill them. Its hip fire is not the best. It's not phenomenal, especially if you can't control your recoil very well. But it's good. Like, it's still good. If you need this to pull up in a hip fire situation, it's going to do some good damage. It's got very little recoil. You can beam people. You throw it 3 times, you got some attachments on it. You can beam people from a mile away with it. You can single fire it, which I personally don't enjoy as much anymore. Not even because of anvils. I just don't enjoy doing it as much as I used to. But you can do it. It's a solid all-around weapon. I think that an R3, and this is not revolutionary, like everybody that does anything like this is going to tell you the exact same thing, but an R3 is a definite consideration every single match for every player, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, but I think it's great. The R99. The R99 is one that I go back and forth with all the time in terms of whether I love or hate it. It's a solid weapon. It is, in my opinion, still probably one of the top. For most people, it's probably still the top SMG. I don't know. It just shoots too fast. And it's not even just the recoil, it just shoots too fast. You miss it all, and half your bullets are gone. I don't enjoy it because of that. But it is a solid weapon. Like, it's great. Its recoil is, like, pretty heavy, but it's very, like, unidirectional for the most part, so it's not that hard to get a hold of, or to get a handle on. It's not that big of a deal. Let's see. If I'm putting this at C, this is probably B, like I said. Honestly, in my opinion, R3 is S tier. It's very average across the board, but it's just so versatile that it's probably S tier. R99 is probably A or S tier. Alternator is my personal favorite SMG. It has been for a long time. It's not the fastest. It doesn't have the biggest mag sizes, but it's just such. It's like the R3. It's just such a reliable weapon. Across the board, the Alternator can fulfill most roles that you need it to. You want to throw a 3 times on it, you want to tap fire from a distance, you can do that. Or a 2 times, not a 3 times. Did I say? I don't know which one I said. But you can do that. You can do that pretty easily, and this with no other attachments, and somebody who can't control their aim. Like, the Alternator is just a solid weapon all around. I would say that it's A tier. I can't say that it's S tier just because I know that it's not as powerful as a lot of the other SMGs, but it is a great weapon. It's another one that in my mind is a must-consider weapon for people, especially if you have a hard time controlling your aim, if you're new to the game, if you just want something that you don't really have to try that hard with. It's a phenomenal weapon. Now the car, on the other hand, is like the exact opposite. I do not like the car. I thought that I would. I tried really hard to. The recoil just feels weird. It's not even that crazy, but it just feels weird. Like, that's hip fire. It's that little right there at the top, that little back and forth, that throws me off every single time. The iron sights on most skins, if not all, maybe there are some good skins, I don't know. I can't stand. I personally don't like it. They cover, look at how much of the screen that covers. It's insane. Now, we'll get the job done. I do like the option to switch between ammos. I think that's great. And I think it obviously makes it super unique. It's the only weapon that can do that. But there are very few situations in which I can imagine taking a car over an Alternator or an R9. Or even a Prowler, honestly. So I'd say this is probably B tier. The only thing that gets it that high for me personally is just its versatility and being able to switch ammo types. That's the only thing. And like mags and like attachments and stuff. That's nice too. The Rampage, everybody hates. Obviously everybody's going to hate it. It's disgusting. It's absolutely insane. However, it is counterable. Like, I'm so sick. I kind of talked about this in my YouTube video this week. Like, I'm so sick of seeing people just trash on other people every time they see them use a Rampage. Because it's pretty easily counterable. If you get caught out in the open, you have nowhere to go, and somebody actually can hit their shots from a ways away with it, yeah, you're probably screwed. But that's the way that it is with so many weapons. That's the way that it is with the Hemlock, with the R3, with any of the snipers, like the bow. It's going to happen. It's just going to happen. It's a part of the game. If they're better than you, they're better than you. And if you get caught out in bad situations, that's just BR. It happens sometimes. Now, I will admit that you charge this sucker up. Let's do this real quick. You charge this sucker up. It's kind of insane. It is kind of crazy. You don't even really have to hit very many of your shots. Like, even hip fire, it's kind of crazy. But it doesn't last that long. It forces you to carry thermites, which if you're getting shot with it, you don't care what the other person has to carry in their bag. But it forces you to carry those thermites. And I still don't think that it's like nearly anything that people should be complaining about as much as they do. But it is insane. It is definitely an S tier weapon. Whether you love the gun or hate it, it is an S tier weapon through and through because it has that power. The damage per shot, even with how slow it is insane. Now the 30-30. What's up, Dyer? How's it going, homie? I'm recording a YouTube video right now. The 30-30, I think, is I think it's less slept on now than it was. Probably one of the most slept on weapons in the game. The iron sights are not great. They cover a lot of the screen. But if you just kind of want to snap in and out of it, you know, you can do that pretty easily. Like, I don't hit my shots for shit, you guys know that. But you can snap in and out of shots easily. It's got a pretty solid amount of damage even without being charged. Like 40 a shot, 42? That's crazy. Its headshot is great, you can charge it up. It doesn't have the lowest amount of bullet drop, like it drops a decent amount, but you can still hit shots with it. If you're using it as a mid-range weapon, like, you're gonna hit shots with it. Being able to load one at a time is both great and awful. It either saves you in a fight or it ruins you, but that's where dual shell comes in. Where is the dual shell? It's over here somewhere, isn't it? Apparently it's not right now, but that's where it would come in if they had it on the ground in firing range, which apparently they don't. I think it's a great weapon. It's definitely not a weapon for everybody. It's not the supreme marksman, but, I mean, even that hipfire, you can't complain about that too much. So that's my opinion. I think that it's an A tier weapon easily. I just think that it's underrated, and I don't think that it fits everybody's style quite as much. Wingman is S tier. We all know this. It always has been. It's an insane weapon. It takes a ton of skill to really be good with, but you hit your shots, as I didn't, but you hit your shots with it and it's insane. Its hipfire is great. Its fire speed is great. Its mag size is pretty decent now. Headshots are insanely punishing. If I could actually hit them. It doesn't have terrible iron sights if you have a good skin for it. Like, I'm not a huge fan of this just because that reticle is a little bit obnoxious. But it's got pretty decent iron sights. It's not bad. It's really not bad. It just takes skill. The Prowler is... Love the Prowler. Iron sights. I really liked them on this skin originally. Now I can't really stand them. But Prowler is a shred machine. I do wish that its base mag size was a little bit better. But it is insane. It's pretty solid hipfire. It's solid ADS. It does... If you hit your shots with it, if you miss a burst, you're fucked. But if you hit your shots with it, it's going to do insane. I think that, honestly, the Prowler is probably an S tier weapon if you know how to use it. Hemlock, I would say, is probably B to A. It kind of just depends. I personally do not like the Hemlock at all anymore. But its single fire is insane. Its single fire is basically just a Rampage, but you don't have to carry around thermites, and it does a little bit more, or a little bit less damage. You can fire faster. Its burst is pretty good if you can control it. There again, like the Prowler, if you can hit your bursts, you're going to shred people pretty easily. I just don't personally enjoy it. I don't think that I would pick it up over any other AR, personally, except maybe the Havoc if I don't have a turbo. Flatline, even after the nerf, as we were talking about earlier, it's an insane weapon. Its ADS is great. This skin is... There are some good flatline skins, in my opinion. It does an insane amount of damage. Its hipfire is disgusting. Okay, well, maybe not right there, but its hipfire is pretty solid. It's an S tier weapon all around. If you're going for more of a mid-range, I'd pick the R3 every time just because it's got an easier recoil, but the flatline's not that hard. It's literally all horizontal for the most part. Just spend some time with it. Triple take is easily S tier. There's no doubt about that. It's a shotgun. There we go. It's a shotgun. It's a marksman. It's anything that you need it to be. It will fill that role. You can't find a shotgun. You're playing Gibby. You can't find a shotgun, but you find a triple take. You're good. Even hipfire, like, you get a little bit closer, it's not bad. Choke that up at all, it's insane. Now, with the kinetic loader, I mean, it's nuts. That was into his leg and he had no health. But it's nuts. The triple take is insane. That's a must consider. You want to run any mid-range or like mid to long, triple take is your go-to weapon. Why did I drop all the energy? Devo, S tier, just takes a little bit of practice. With the turbocharger, oh boy, see, it takes a little bit of practice. With the turbocharger, it's above S tier in my opinion, but even without it, it's phenomenal. It's not my favorite mid-range gun, obviously, but even at mid-range, I have no attachment, so it's kicking a lot, but you can tap fire people, especially with a turbo. You can tap fire people with it. It'll do the job. Havoc is phenomenal. If you pick this up off rip, you pick this weapon up off rip, and if somebody else lands with you, whether they have a weapon or not, if you work that time right, you're probably going to win that fight. Havoc shreds people. Past the first minute, if you have a Havoc without a turbocharger, you either better get ready to rewind all of your shots, or you better pick up a different weapon. Because I cannot tell you, and it's probably just because I'm bad and I don't pre-fire, but I cannot tell you how many times I've lost fights just because of that tiny little half-second charge-up time in a later game fight. L-Star is very much middle, sorry, S tier. With Turbo, A tier. Without, probably B at best, maybe C. L-Star is a very middle of the pack. I personally have a love-hate relationship with it. It's another weapon that early game, it shreds because you can get up close, you can hit fire it. Bullets are so big, they're going to shred people. You can aim from a distance, it's not too bad. Especially now that you can put on attachments. Now that you can add like barrel stabilizers and shit in mags, it's great. I just don't personally enjoy it that much. Sorry. L-Star is probably... I'm going to say B tier for L-Star. It's just nothing that special. The bow. The bow is insane, but it's also insanely frustrating. I would say that the bow is an A tier weapon, but in terms of frustration levels, it drops it all the way down to like an F most of the time for most people, just because they don't have the patience, they're not good enough to like, and this is in no way shitting on people, but they're not good enough to like learn the strafe pattern that works well with it very well. And it's just a pain in the ass to find arrows for half the time. You either find a bunch of them or you're running on half a stack for the entire match. You throw 3 times on this, it's insane. Like, it'll clap. But I would most of the time anymore, at least, probably still take the triple takeover because it's better, it's more versatile. Shotguns, so yeah, we said A tier for that. Here's kind of my thinking here, and stay with me, don't hate this. Eva, right now, is probably at best a C tier weapon. And not because it's bad, it's just not good. It's just not good. If you have no other options, you really want to run a shotgun, or it's just a weapon, first weapon you pick up, it'll do the job if you can hit your shots with it, but it's not a good weapon. Beak without hammer points is probably a B tier, honestly, because it's got so much range, realistically. Having that 6 shots is great, it does good up close. With hammers, it's easily probably A tier, at least. It's a beast, you put a bolt and hammers on it, it's over. PK's A tier. With a kinetic, I would say that if you can utilize that well, it's probably S tier. But without it, it's just A tier in my opinion. It's a great shotgun, but it's nothing special there again. Mastiff, I'm going to say same thing, honestly. The dual shell, I've grown to like the Mastiff a lot more than I used to recently, especially with the dual shell. It's great, makes things so much easier, but it is still just, It's just not that phenomenal, in my opinion. It's not that great. It'll do the job if you like shotguns, and if you're good with them, you'll probably really enjoy it. But for somebody like me that just doesn't work with shotguns that often, it's just very middle of the road. I'll pick it up. You'll see me run it a lot here lately because I'm trying to force myself to get better with it and with shotguns as a whole. But it is what it is, you know? We're not going to spend much time on the care pack weapons because they're care pack weapons. Spitty, disgusting. It's absolutely a menace. It's insane. You guys know. It's insane. The Volt this season in the care pack, insane. Absolutely crazy. The G7, I personally, if I had a kit at triple take, most of the time I probably wouldn't pick up the G7. There are times that I would do it just because the fire rate is great, I love the mag size, and because like you find it, you kind of just want to pick it up because it's a care pack weapon. But honestly, past like 100 meters maybe, what is that at? 70 meters? I don't think I'd pick it up to shoot past there. I'd keep the triple take. Kraber is just crazy. Kraber's insane. I'm not even gonna try to do any shots with Kraber. You guys know I suck with the Kraber. It's insane. Nobody's gonna doubt that. Nobody's gonna argue with that. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, really, obviously, like we talked about at the beginning, it all just kind of comes down to your guys' preferences. Do what you want. I'm not a good player. My opinions do not mean a whole lot. This is just my take on it, and this is my take at the beginning of the season. This might very well change. So, you know, it is what it is.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, this was recorded on my Twitch, so go and check that out. The link is down in the description below. Thanks, and we'll see y'all next time. Thank you guys so much for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, this was recorded on my Twitch, so go and check that out. The link is down in the description below. Thanks, and we'll see y'all next time.